Toycat, and welcome back to another live stream on the internet. Today, I am literally just destroying my end. And you know, the title of this is really interesting because my end is made up of multiple islands, and I'm destroying an entire one of those. That one in particular. I actually think today we could finish destroying the entire island. I've got the storage capacity, I've got 6 shulker boxes, I'm hoping that's enough. I've got the pickaxes, I've got my lovely diamond one here, but assuming that's not enough, I've got an efficiency 3 and efficiency 2 one. Basically, I'm going to be destroying it, and taking a little bit of feedback from Ulraf in the conversation we had on Thursday. Something I wanted to do is I wanted to mine out the island itself. I wanted to mine it in a more satisfying way is what I'm going for here, because that just seems to be logical. So let's place down my 6 shulker boxes now. We'll have a nice little space between them. It's going to be great. And let's hope that there's no issue with the stream. I always get like a tiny bit nervous starting a stream. Like there's this, you know, I'm doing this like jump into the unknown. Like who knows if it's functioning or not. Also, this is the most minorly annoying thing in the world. My webcam doesn't work directly as into OBS. It has to run through this third program, and sometimes that adds the tiniest bit of lag that most people don't spot. But some people doing it like ruins the stream for them, and it's like, okay, that's fine. We can work with that, I guess. But it's kind of crazy anyway. So hello, I'm IBX Toycat. How are you doing today? I always see random little bits of like end particles floating by. It's the weirdest, glitchiest thing. But hello, IBX Toycat, and we're gonna mine a bunch of endstone so I can place it in my ocean. Webcam is out of focus today. Thank you, Michelle OO, for the tip. Wait, let me I wonder why. Are you sure it's out of focus? Let's set the priority to exposure and see what that does. And now back to frame rate. Honestly, yeah, I spent a lot of money on a webcam and I regret it so heavily. There is okay, you know, let me talk about buyer's remorse before we do anything else today. So I had a lovely Easter. I drank a milkshake today and didn't even throw up. That's like big progress for my digestive system. But yeah, basically I said recently in a stream like, oh, it's not everyone who like throws up after drinking milkshakes. And it was one of those like, ah, yeah, turns out people are different, huh? But also it's fine, they're lying, says Exploding Tiger. Yeah, most people, like most strangers, if they say something like that, I don't trust them. Michelle Owo is one of the few That was incredibly interesting. It's been so long since that happened. It's such a shame too. We had such a good streak of not having stream crashes, and then we had a stream crash. What a tragedy, am I right? So let's try this again, shall we? That was so weird. It's all my fault, says Michelle Owo. I choose to accept that as correct. We got grapes here also. Also hello, Ender Star and Ice Maiden. Okay, there we go. So that's really interesting. I guess we can tell when a stream crash. You know, maybe I should have triple checked my internet before I streamed again. See, that's one of the weird things about streaming. Like, I get like this like minor, I don't know, like anxiety about it. Like, there's so many things that can go wrong, and every now and then one of them just does. So yeah, let me talk about buyer's remorse anyway. That's what I was actually going for. There's one of the worst feelings in the world is buying something and then realizing that was a bad purchase decision. And we're so averse to that feeling, because, you know, like, it's not only knowing that you spent money on something bad, but it's also, you know, like, it's more than that. It's like, oh yeah, that is money that could have been spent elsewhere that is being spent there. And so, like, it kind of sucks to do it on that level. But, like, I feel like we have such an aversion to buyer's remorse. Like, I knew for a fact that I should have upgraded straight to a camera setup. I even have a camera. It's just such a nightmare to capture it because it refuses to turn into a source. And I was like, you know what? That's just another point of failure. I'll just buy a better webcam. So I bought this 4K webcam, right? And so it's 4K and it's 60 frames per second. However, if I turn it to 4K, let me show you right now. Actually, wait, let me chat. Tell me if you can genuinely notice the difference. Oh, I literally can't turn it to 4K. Oh. Maybe I have to turn down the frame rate, and then I can pick 4K. No, that's insane. It only does 1080p. It's meant to do 4K. Well, this is dumb. It's not even a 4K It's not even a 4K webcam. But if I do 1080p and 60 frames per second, there's a minor audio lag between when I say words and when my lips move, for no good reason. Oh, and that stuff happens. Well, what was that? Like this is the worst purchase decision of my life. Yeah, so scammed, says lol, says Dr. Fido. I'm not even scammed. What's up? Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's like being scammed is like a feeling, right? No one wants to feel that either, because that's like the same thing, like money wrongfully parted from you. But like it's worse with buyer's remorse, because if you get scammed, like I think people would prefer to feel scammed, right? Like, wouldn't you much rather feel like someone had gotten the better of you wrongfully? Because at least that implies that you are trusting and like, you know, you did the correct thing. It was them who did something wrong. No, buyer's remorse is worse. You had the information available to you and you made the wrong decision. Doesn't that hurt? Like, yeah, you should have known that you shouldn't have bought a webcam. I did know that I shouldn't have bought a new webcam, but I figured it'll be easy and it'll get all the benefits of upgrading without the... No, I got none of the benefit. I got downsides to upgrading and now I'm like too far down the rabbit hole and it's like, well, I can't just not use this, you know, this webcam, can I? That would be silly. And so now I'm stuck. Now I'm using this worse webcam in every way. And it's terrible. And like this is the thing, right? Like it's the fallacy of I forget what it is. It's like sunk cost, right? If you spend money on something, you feel more obliged to like the thing. And this is a problem because like having buyer's remorse for yourself is fine, but people who try to convince other people. Also, thank you so much, Jessica Forsyth. I think you're the first tip of the stream. You are very appreciated if so. If not, you know what? Your appreciation levels is 0. I'm just kidding. Is it? Indeed. No, sorry, Georgia Ann. I got the wrong name. I read out someone else's name instead. I'm sorry, Georgia Ann. How are you doing? In exchange for me reading the wrong name and embarrassing you, I didn't tip, but thanks. You know what? You get no appreciation anyway. Yeah, how about that, Jessica? How about that? Anyway, so see, look at that. This is a high quality webcam that costs close to £300. Anyway, so sell the webcam and buy another. I don't know, like that's what I've got to do, but it's like, oh, that just sucks. There's the worst bit though. It's the sunk cost fallacy. Like once you've spent money on something, once you've sunk costs into it, you'll like throw good money after bad, I think is the phrase. Like you'll put and so the worst bit about that is like, you know console fanboys. I think, you see, I'm tying this all back into Minecraft, really. You know how there are some people who insist that they are only going to get one console, and they spend all their days online arguing about why their console's better? Like, if someone says, oh yeah, Nintendo, you know, they suck for making a limited time game. Also, hey, Cat, what do you think of the politics? I love the politics. I follow them all day, every day. I love that now see, I think it's interesting that, like, politics, like, to a lot of people felt like this far-out thing. And now politics has become this thing that literally decides what you can and cannot do on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, we've all... It's, in the year 2021, authoritarianism is the norm. I don't think I can forgive that one. Slang my accent was one thing, but getting my name wrong, says Georgia Ann. I'm Georgia Ann, I'm from Newcastle. This is my best attempt at your accent, and it's terrible, it is. I don't even know what that was. Wasn't even close. Yeah, I feel like, I wonder if that actually, here's the funny thing though, you'd have figured like, oh yeah, we've gone into this like incredibly authoritarian politics stage. Like again, authoritarian for a good cause is perfectly fine if you believe that, and that's a normal belief. But the interesting thing is like, I would have guessed that would make people be more politically active, if only to be like, again, to voice their pleasure or displeasure about it. But most people just become like, yeah, this just goes to show, because you know, every major party's on board of it. Is like, it goes to show that like the biggest things that matter in your life, it doesn't matter who's involved, right? One guy or the other, it's just two sides of the same coin is what people say wrongly. It's not, I would disagree with that broadly, but people say anyway. Susan gets a hamburger tomorrow, my super chat to date, and I'm glad I get to watch Toy Cat play. That was beautiful, Michelle Owo. Also, do you think you'd still be motivated to play the Let's Play world if you didn't record it? You inspired me to start my own Let's Play on YouTube. Hey, thank you, Anna is loading. Would I still be inspired is a really hard to answer question. I want to say yeah. I think, you know, like, my instinct is that, yeah, of course I would. I think it would probably be less. I don't know, like, because of what I do, I don't know, maybe at some point in the last 5 years, I just realized I don't have free time, in the normal sense. Like, if I have, like, this sounds dramatic, and it's definitely being dramatic, to a large extent. But just, like, when I was younger, I could just take, you know, an absurd amount of time and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna take this weekend for video games. It's like, I can't just do that anymore. Like, sneaking an hour or two in is hard. Like, I'm lucky I get to play Minecraft because, like, I can tie it into what I do for a living. You know, if I'm not making a video on the world, I'm recording, and that's gonna help the thing. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm recording the world and using it as background gameplay, and then it's directly, you know. I think giving me excuses to play Minecraft is one of the coolest things about what I do here on YouTube. Like, you know, the job is not playing Minecraft, but it has a lot of opportunities to feel like I'm doing something productive while I play Minecraft, which does mean I play more of it. But I would still be playing on one exclusive world, with or without YouTube. I watched, okay, I know, like, complaining about children and how children aren't real people. Also, thank you, Jessica Forsyth. You have my appreciation. Also, Logan Slatten. Sorry, okay, we got to that one. I think, I watched the child play Minecraft on the train. I was on a really crowded train on the way home, by the way. Like, you know, I don't know. Every now and then, like, it's like, oh yeah, we end up in these situations where, entirely out of your own control. You're like, well, that undid all the things I did inside my own control. That's nice. Obviously, not a good way to think about the world. Just interesting retrospective on a busy train. But anyway, so crowded train, my version of hell. Yeah, my favorite thing about pandemics. Honestly, like, I'm excited for the next one because for, like, there was a year where I could get a seat on every train. Every train I got onto, there was a seat there for me, and, like, I was not only a seat, but, like, if you have a seat on a train, you're next to someone, that's not a seat. That is sitting down because your legs cannot bear it anymore. Sitting down next to another person is a version of hell, unless you're in the window seat, and you know they're getting on for, like, one stop or something. Even that, actually, that's hell. No, sitting down next to another human being, why do trains have 4 seats, when it's clear that most people sit by themselves? Anyway, so, I loved that the pandemic meant that all the trains were empty because people were terrified of public transport because, as we all know, you get germs from the poor people, and the poor people use public transport. That's just the maths. Anyway, so, I just got done watching your weird ideas, says, Capricorn. Hey, thank you, Capricorn. There is, I got a video coming out soon. I say soon, it's, so, one of my editors has been working on a video for over a month now. And so the videos behind that, like, videos I gave him a month ago, he's, like, been a bit slow on. It's all good. It's gonna be a very exciting, video. Facts says, you know, the amount of agreement I get when I blame all of society's problems on the poor people is a big problem, we have in society. A problem caused by those poor people, I reckon. Anyway, so, because again, only the poor people use public transport, and all germs come from public transport.
Your Sunday has been good. Toy Cat Tax. Do you still want a jet ski?
Of course I want a jet ski. 100%. There are so many, like, cool things where, like, just finding an opportunity to do them is genuinely challenging in a way that it shouldn't be. It's like, I just want to do the fun thing. Why? Give me the opportunity to do it already. Anyway, so I watched a child play Minecraft on the crowded train home. You know, again, the poor child play, poor Minecraft. And he loaded up Minecraft. He loaded up a brand new world. I saw the never update screen. He played for 4 minutes, if that, and then he just switched to another game. And it's like, okay, you know, I would like, in terms of the, not in the diagnosed real sense, but in the internet, you have personality traits, so we're going to diagnose you with a full-on mental illness sense. You know, I definitely have some attention deficit traits, right? But even in that case, I'm like, how can anyone... Why? This is not the way Minecraft was intended to be played, and not only is it not intended to be played that way, it's like, how is it even fun? Like, when you play 4 minutes of a brand new world, those are like the worst 4 minutes, right? Am I crazy? Do you agree with me on that one, chat? Also, good morrow, sir. Thank you, Sucks, for the tip. Max Jones says you can get your own seat if you just buy a car. You know, the thing about, this is the thing about cars, right? It's like, if you drive a train, you have your own seat, but you're driving the train. One of the weird quirks about the United States that, like, I know why it developed, but it's still quirky when you think about it by comparison to Europe, is that, like, cars are seen as this luxury thing. And it's like, no. If you have a chauffeur to your car, sure, that's luxury. If you drive yourself somewhere and it takes you 2 hours, that's 2 hours you've got to be on high alert. You can maybe listen to the radio if you're lucky, or a podcast. Maybe a Toycat live stream if you don't mind fiddling with laws about how alert you have to be. How can you satisfy your cravings in 4 minutes? How simplistic do you have to be? Not even speedrunning. I just don't understand. Like, you know, I guess, like, maybe I'm the weird one for spending, like, over an hour just mining endstone in the... You know, maybe I am the weird one. I'm totally willing to accept that's possible. But also, it's just... You know, it just makes me question, okay? Just makes me question. Like, is that how the average person plays Minecraft? If so, maybe panda bears are a good investment of the time. Because, like, what does it matter if a feature actually... You know, what does it matter what a feature can do? The child's gonna look at the panda bear, go, oh my god, I love Minecraft, I'm gonna buy a piece of merch for this, and then move on with their day, maybe? Is that all that is necessary for a brand new mob, for it to be a success? But yeah, you are the opposite of weird. Thank you, Gecko. Maybe we're both just weird together. Ezra thinks maybe he noticed a strange man watching him play Minecraft, so he switched out. I think you could have speedrun Minecraft so fast you didn't see it. That's what it probably was. You're right. I just think, like, okay, you know, I feel like such an old man saying this stuff, but, like, watching children use smart devices makes me genuinely want to die. I'm like, this is a concerning, like, obviously I don't know. It's just like I feel like having too much entertainment at your fingertips is a problem for fully formed adults. And we're throwing, like, you know what? When I want to watch something, working out what I want to watch is sometimes, like, a hard challenge. And too many choices gives you, like, analysis paralysis. And that's, like, hard. I'll waste a whole evening working out what game I want to play. Because I'm like, oh, I finally have 3 hours free. I can play any game I want to. I've got to make the game count. You know, okay, should we play some Minecraft? No, if I play Minecraft, it's a little bit like work, and I want to play a new game so I can, you know, like, see, that's important to me to play new games. Okay, so a new game, should I pay for one? Ooh, if I'm going to pay for one, I should check it out first. And then 3 hours have passed, and I've not played a game, and it's like, ah. Same with watching a movie on Netflix or something. It's a nightmare. And imagine, like, as an adult, I know, like, okay, I should stop doing that. As a child, I'm just like, yep, I was entertained, and then I had to, you know, I don't know. It's a hard thing. So with that said, thank you very much for the tip, Jiska Forsyth. Why is bra shopping and bras the worst thing to come into existence? The math on it and the sizes makes no sense. So I feel like, as someone who has been around enough women in his lifetime, I'm gonna do my best here via stream to help you with your bra shopping problems. You might say, Toycat, is this appropriate for your live stream? Technically speaking, not in any actual way, but if she's a moderator on the channel, that makes her an employee. Therefore, that makes this incredibly inappropriate workplace conduct. But let's do it anyway, chat. Let's do it anyway. So, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna let this endstone fall in the void. I don't need it that badly. So yeah, in case you're curious, you know, actually, chat. Let's give the world a lesson. Let's teach you about bras, because you know, so many people talk about it incorrectly, and it's crazy how many of those people are women themselves. It's like, this is like your body. So, you know, as a guy, at some point you're gonna have to buy, no matter what your gender is, unless you are, I guess if you're a gay man, or you're dating someone without boobs. But if at some point in your life this is gonna come up, you're gonna need to know this knowledge right here. Okay, chat, let's go. So there's 2 numbers in a bra size. There's one that's just your chest. I don't know where about in your chest it is. I think it's underneath the bust. is the description. Boom. It's just measured in inches. Even in the UK, where we use centimeters more than inches, it's measured in inches. Don't question it. I don't know how they do it in Europe, but it's very confusing. Maybe centimeters, but sometimes it's like a hybrid system. Don't look into it. Boom. That's how you measure that. And then the number of inches that go out is the cup size. Don't ask how we convert inches into letters. We just do it, okay? So A, B, C, D. A would be 1 inch, I think. It might be 2 inches. And then there's B, which is 2 inches, C, which is 3 inches, and D, which is 4 inches. The reason why from D it doesn't go straight to E is because originally the first bra manufacturer only made 4 sizes. Unlike most clothing, which is, you know, like we've had trousers forever, bras have existed for like, I don't even know. It's like a crazy short amount of time. 1920, I want to say. I don't know why. I have this very distinct memory of being in this house in Canada that claimed to be the place where the bra was invented. See, my travels have enlightened me to how brassieres came into the world. Anyway, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, and then after 4 inches, I think it's 5. But then 5 is double D if you're in the UK or America, not inside most other countries. I want to say America then has triple D because it doesn't understand how Americans don't know the alphabet past D. And then it's E, F, G, H. I feel like there's some double letters in there, but like you don't need to know about those sizes because we're talking about like the 99.9th percentile. Like those aren't real sizes that will come up. Boom, there you go. That's all it is. That is how bras work. But because different manufacturers know that people wear the wrong size and people don't measure themselves. Like that's how you measure it, right? I'm going back too early. You take the measurements of that, you take the measurement of that, and then you combine those two, you work out your bra size. But people don't actually do it that way. They just put on a bra and they go, this doesn't hurt. There's some funny fact about how many women wear the wrong size. Like, imagine if I just put on trousers by being like, am I a 28? Well, a 28 doesn't hurt me too badly, so sure. Actually, I think I'm like a size 32 in jeans. So anyway, the next double letter comes at G cup, says Ice Maiden. There we go. Chat. You're welcome. Yeah, what, even most, like, fitters that are, like, trying to measure you, they just throw you a bunch of bras and say which one hurts least. And then because of that, some bra manufacturers don't follow it entirely. So there is some complexity to this, but that's all you need to know. You're welcome, chat. Now that will help you if you next need to size it. Yes, you'd think it'd be that simple, but it was on a site that 36 inches around is a 40 band, and each site seems different. Yeah, that is where things get complex, because unlike every other size where it's universally known, because it's not universally known, people just know, oh yeah, what is 36C, that seems common, I'm probably that. And because people assume that, therefore, different priorities mean that they just kind of mess around with it. Yeah, I realized yesterday I've been wearing the wrong size for 3 years, Lamau. You're welcome. See, look at that, by the way. I feel like it was a interesting thing. This is usually what men do unlike women. Huh? Look how the tables have turned. Yeah, I think what it is like, when you feel awkward about something, you don't try to, like, I do feel awkward about, sock size. The idea of sock sizes makes me uncomfortable, so I refuse to look at sock size. I just buy whichever one. Also, I buy whichever one hurts least, says Swirly Hamster. See, right, that is, like, when you feel a little awkward about something, and again, like, this is a, what's the phrase? It's like a secondary sex character. It's a thing that society tells you lots of things about, but it's, like, also a part of your body. You don't, my feet are exactly like women's chest. There is an exact corollary here. I don't feel comfortable talking about them. I don't want someone to measure them. It makes me grossly uncomfortable, the idea of someone... You know when you're a child and you're getting things? Also, gotta sleep. Remember, it'll appreciate you immensely. Good night. Thank you, Mother Russia. Happy Bunny Lay Eggs Day. Just wanted to pop on and pay the Toycat tax. Did you know you can climb cake staircases pretty fast with a horse? Oh, yeah, a horse would be amazing for that. Also, cup sizes can fluctuate for different times of the month. Oh, yeah, there is, like, that is one of the crazy parts of it, too. Like, it's worth... Like, realistically, it's not enough, but, like, if you're on the borderline, you could be 1 for... And so that's some of the complexity of it. Also, because it's all just fat, right? When you gain and lose weight, it's... For a lot of people, it gains and loses there first. I understand the complexities. It's like, you know, my feet, Your feet are supposed to be the same length as your forearm, apparently. My foot is this long, chat. Do you wanna see my forearm? That doesn't seem correct. I feel like I was lied to. Did you just want to see my forearm, Chantal? You not just tell me this, okay? You should have a podcast where he teaches basic life skills, says Katia C. Yeah, I do genuinely, that's one of those basic life skills that's uncomfortable because, again, like, you're talking about boobs and it's like, bra shopping is exactly like toy cat mining endstone, confusing, illogical, time-consuming, and slightly uncomfortable. I like that, Robin Brooks. 10 out of 10 explanation. Tax, says Emma Swift. Thank you! Also, thank you for terraforming your world because you're bored. Razioski. That's a fun idea. Okay, I'm going to try and do this in a logical way, starting from here. I'm going to start at this end, and I'm going to work inwards. That's my plan. So mine that, it's going to fly off the edge, it's going to suck. Then we mine inwards again, it's going to fly off the edge, and it sucks, but it's fine. Measure it together. Why are you talking about brass, says Rebecca Bowden. Yeah, I think some people genuinely, like, think about this, right, chat? If that made you actually uncomfortable, that and I'm not saying it's wrong for you to be uncomfortable. I think being uncomfortable is a valid response to a lot of things in life. But if that makes you uncomfortable, now think about, like, ooh, now everyone expects you to know it already, and you can't ask about it because it's uncomfortable to talk about. And so, yeah, it's a thing, right? I was like, no way my feet are as big as my forearms. My feet are tiny. Then I measured. They are, says Katia C. Okay, you know what, Katia C, you've convinced me. Wait, no, I'm not showing my feet to you, camera. You don't get to see my feet unless you watch the Iron Brew video. Which, okay, I've got a confession to make, chat. I recorded the Iron Brew video. It's waiting to be edited right now. And I just felt very dirty. I was like, what have I done? Why is this a thing? I can't upload this to the internet. But also, I spent far too much to not upload the Iron Brew. I'd be disappointing the subsect of my audience that wants to see the Toy Cat Brew, the very real product that is coming to a store near you soon. Anyway, so the thing about that is, like, I can't work out what I want to do with it. I'm thinking maybe make it member only. I don't like that though, because, like, again, like, using. I want to limit it to a dedicated small audience somehow. And it almost feels dirtier to be like, yeah, you want to pay money to watch me bathe in the orange stuff? I bet you do. I feel sorry for the person who's editing it. Anyway, so yeah, there are lots of things that are uncomfortable to talk about, and those uncomfortable things that are uncomfortable to talk about, you're just going to be like, yeah, just kind of be done with it. I know what's a dumb thing for me. Honestly, recycling is, like, to me, something that, like, everyone talks about like they know exactly how it works. And the thing about, like, here's the thing about recycling, right? I didn't know this till recently because I just throw things that seem recyclable in the bin so that I look like I'm recycling when people are around me. But if people aren't around me, I'm not recycling. Recycling is a performative activity for society. That is, I am doing it to express my non-existent virtue to you. I'm sorry. Do you think that this bottle when I'm done is going in the recycling bin? Oh, it's an invisible bottle again. I hate to break it to you. That's a lie. This bottle is going in my mouth, and then it's going in the bin. And then it might be going in a glass bank. Actually, wait, I do recycle. I love recycling bottles because my glass bank has all the bottles smash and shatter, and it's so satisfying. I love shattering glass, but I just don't have enough opportunities to do it, you know? Even when I was like 12, I broke a bottle of glass in an abandoned factory, and everyone around me was like, not cool, man. And it's like, but smashing glass is so satisfying. Like, everyone has this, like, deep aversion to it, and I think it's a problem. So anyway, you know Bucks Fizz, the British Christmas drink? I happen to have some that cost £2.50 at Lidl, and this one is made from sparkling orange as opposed to clementine juice. So it's not traditional Bucks Fizz, but it might be tastier as a result. I don't really know. But yeah, we're gonna be very careful here. Also, I should probably hold my controller because if an Enderman hits me, I will just instantly die. So we're gonna take this off first. Should be easy enough to do. Boom. And now there's one of these. I guess we just always got to do it away from the face. Oh, this is actually a challenge. Oh. Got to keep it away from the face. Oh. I want to use my teeth. I always use my teeth for this stuff. But this is not appropriate to use teeth for. Well, you know, I'm gonna come back to this. I cannot get the lid off. See, like, basic human skills, like, you just... If you can wing it, society tells you that winging it is good enough. There we go. Society Society tells you that winging it's good enough. And truth be told, in a lot of situations, winging it is good enough. But also, there are sometimes like some really easy things. Like I think this is a problem with like elitism. I would say in some ways, we have so many like minor ways that we make. I think gatekeeping is a good word for it too. Like we have so many ways we like keep things deliberately only for people who already know about them. And I don't think like I'm not gonna try and claim that like there's an evil cartel that is trying to, you know, keep me from understanding recycling. Which, by the way, I've looked into it since, and, like, it's intense. That even inside of a country, even inside the UK, depending on which, and even inside a county, which is the subdivision of the UK, a country is the subdivision of the UK, a county is a subdivision of the country, even inside that county, depending on your council, that can change. And then even inside of a council, in some rare circumstances, you're not going to get the right bins for the right recycling. And then in some councils, they give you different bins. In some councils, they sort it for you. In some councils, they don't bother recycling it because they get more money to ship it off to Sweden as trash anyway. I don't think they do that so much anymore. But, like, it's like there's so many layers of complexity to, like, what you should and shouldn't recycle. And it's like, we just pretend it's simple and go, yeah, just like, don't worry about it, man. So there's also an evil cartel keeping you from understanding brass. Oh, no! It's fine. I think there's also an evil cartel keeping you from understanding the way that the way elytras activate when you're not going forwards is terrifying, or rather, don't activate. Whew. Harrison, you should keep track of all these anxiety-inducing moments. We need another Toy Cat. Toy Cat creates extreme anxiety. Highlights. That's what I think we need. But you're recycling Endstone right now. Yeah, the only way you can guarantee that recycling's gonna work is if you like the only way that it's like guaranteed to is if you recycle something yourself. We love outsourcing things that we think are good. Like we want good things, but we don't want to do good things. We want to believe that good things are happening. Like, I think that's, so many of society's problems can be solved that way. Whether that's by, like, your voting intentions, whether that's with your, you know, like your, oh, I only buy sustainable fish. You know, I don't buy caught fish. I only buy the sustainable stuff. Knowing that, like, that other industry is still gonna grow hugely in all the ways you can't, whatever. Anyway, you know, it gets complex fast, right? Like, we like to, feeling good about something is ironically, like, often the opposite way to solve it. And that, like, the smugness that people have when they're like, yeah, I feel good because I do my thing, makes other people like, oh, I don't know if that's a important thing. Did you see the album cover I made from the Iron Brew picture on your Twitter? Also good saving the fool there. Thank you, Diluted Dante. But yeah, there's an evil cartel out there that is trying to prevent you from knowing bra sizes, so that when you buy a bra for your girlfriend one day, you know, or your you know, co-worker. No, wait, no. Or for your, I'm trying to be inclusive here, chat. Or your wife, or your, I don't know, your maid, I don't know. But anyway, so when you try to, your subordinates, very appropriate. Anyway, so, you know, when you go to buy one of these things, mother, you know, yeah, sorry, that's what I was missing. It was mother. I should be more inclusive to people who have to buy their parents' clothing. Anyway, so yeah, when you go to buy that, you're gonna buy the wrong size, and you're gonna be so embarrassed that you're not gonna return the old one, because returning the old one's an admission of defeat. And now they've sold Civil Partner, says Michael DeVanzo. Indeed, Civil Partner too. I can't believe I would be so. Actually, what are civil partners called? Are you literally just called, like, my name is Jerry, and this is my civil partner, Jerry? Is that how you say it? That seems incorrect. But I don't think it is that, honestly. I think it is just, like, layers of elitism build up. Like, there's, I'm so glad, There's a few people in chat. Like, I guess this is statistically true that, like, if I've got, like, 10,000, let's call it, like, active subscribers who know who I am and what's going on in my life. Also, thank you, Mountain Man. Why does it take so long to set up a video capture system? I want to show off my Minecraft skills to 0 YouTube viewers. You can just use the Xbox capture. I don't recommend it, but, like, if you want to do it for free, you can do that. Jerry and Jerry, not going to be confusing at all. Oh, no, one's spelled with a G, because he's the gay one in the relationship. The other one is straight, but they respect that just because they're not the same sexuality, it doesn't mean they can't have a relationship. That seems factually. That seems like it works as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so I think that off the 10,000 people that follow me, it's interesting that, like, statistically, yeah, actually, like, you know, like, a few of those are going to be in the process of buying a house too. And, like, yeah, like, I don't know, something like taxes as well. Taxes seem really complex because we don't like to talk about it, partially because it's boring, partially because, like, there's, like, when we like, quote an issue of morality to not talk about it, that's, like, where issues get bad. Jerry is bi confirmed. There we go. Gerald and Jeremiah just trying to be cute. Yeah, bro, he's literally destroying the end. Yeah, the end, we don't need the end anymore. We need the beginning. Where is the beginning dimension? I need a place where I can start again fresh. And the end is just not doing it for me, if you ask me. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover the end now. So there's lots of torches, even in places like this. And that way when we remove the torches, we're gonna be... Like, I don't want Enderman spawning and killing me again. Because that was very close to my death we just witnessed. I mean, it's weird. Good evening and good night are practically the same thing, but have 2 different meanings. I had a fun debate today, which is when does the afternoon end and the evening begin? And you'd figure it wouldn't be a debate, but I assure you it was a debate. I would say that afternoon is definitely, obviously, midday. Everyone knows that. It's afternoon. It's a very simple phraseology. But, like, to me, evening begins at 4 p.m., but my friends say it begins at 6. It starts when it starts to get dark. So would you say that in the Arctic Circle, where it doesn't get dark for a full, you know, like, during the summer, they have, like, you know, 23, sometimes 24 hours of sunlight for some days of the year, at least one day of the year to be in the Arctic Circle. Would you say... By the way, I think that's literally how we define the Arctic Circle. It's very dumb, actually. Back up the world, damn it. My heart can't deal with this again, says Harrison Gray. If I ever wanted to, I could just load a backup from the realm. It feels a little bit... That's one of those, like, gray area, is it cheating things? It might even be black area, like, it's mildly cheating things. So I like to say it's not an option until it needs to be one. But yeah, 6 to 7. See, right, everyone has a different definition of evening, which is a problem because when do you say good evening to someone? Because usually I just say good morning, no matter what the time of day, and people are like, oh, you're being funny. That's hilarious. It's not evening, but you're saying it's evening. Or it's not morning, but you're saying it's morning. You are a comedian, and you should be commended for this. Those are the precise words people use often. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start destroying it from this angle first. Just because it's here. Yeah, I get the, I'm actually going to get the mining boost if I mine here. So we're going to do it. It's going to be hard. It's going to lead to lots of near-death situations. But we're going to do it anyway. You say good evening when you want to, just like good morning. Good morning, Toycat, says Jamie. Yeah, on the internet, there's no such thing as, like, mornings, evenings, nights. Like, it's all arbitrary. It's all made up. Bonjour is good day and the only solution. French is never the solution. French is never, ever, ever the solution. I could not tell you a single time I've ever been like, yeah, actually, French is a good solution to this. French has a good solution if it's like, oh, I'm hungry for a breakfast pastry early on in the morning, and I only eat foods that begin with C. If only there was some solution. And in which case, croissant is, in fact, a valid solution to that problem. I just ignore people so I don't have to say anything to people. If you actually think about it, time doesn't exist. Yeah, time is one of humanity's greatest and or most confusing inventions. Like, we invented time. Actually, there's a debate about whether humans invented or discovered maths. Actually, you know, like, this is a philosophy question, but instead, let's do it as a democracy question. Do you think humans created maths or discovered maths? Or math, or if you insist on being American. I like math. Math is really good. Okay, we're gonna die if we remove this block. So let's just get out there. Can't believe I happened to mine the one block I had a torch on. And there we go. Now we can mine down. Remove this block with no problems whatsoever. Created, invented, discovered, invented. See, right? It's interesting that there's a debate there, because like it depends, I guess, whether you think of maths as being this complex set of rules that other people imply on you, or whether it's inherent. Honestly, this is one of the things I find really interesting. Like debates about laws, or whether laws are like. Do you like this? This sounds like a dumb argument, but like, because obviously, like, the law about e-scooters not being legal in the UK is one that was invented, right? Like, they just decided, what if these things weren't legal anymore? Rather, it's not even invented. It's like a weird subset. They decided not to legalize them, and de facto made them illegal because of how things on the road are illegal by default in the UK if they're not a car, which is an interesting set of laws we could come. There's an interesting like debate about that, but we'll try to come back into that. But like, do laws exist, or do we just write down rough interpretations of where it exists? Because obviously, and I think it's kind of like a, I don't know, I don't want to say privileged perspective, because that's like those are words that aren't very fun to say. But like, also pig steps incoming. Everyone get ready for this. You ready? You better be ready. Because Kristen Higgins has become a support cat. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like if a law exists, it doesn't fundamentally exist, right? If you sign in a law that says no one is allowed to go to work tomorrow, oh, that's a bad example because pandemic. If you sign a law that says like no one's allowed to eat bread anymore, then people are still going to eat bread. Even if you try to make it, if you want to actually change the behavior, you have to stop people from selling the bread. You have to convince people not to buy it. There's a lot of like steps, right? Thank you for the pig step sound effects. They'll come in some use at some point. I'm very curious about what that means. Harrison Gray. Laws are merely directives for enforcement officers to use force on people. Okay, you know what? This bothers me all the time, and I know like I'm just bitter because I can't ride my electric scooters. And yeah, you know what? This entire branch of morality comes from my lack of being able to ride around my favorite personal electronic vehicle, because I'm allowed to recycle the wrong thing and feel good about it. But if I dare try to help the environment in a way that isn't paying a scooter company and or, you know, getting a polluting vehicle for the road, then heaven, I hope I better be willing to pay those fines. But I think there is a really interesting, were bras created or discovered, though, Toy Cat says, Diluted Dante. See, I would say that bras were created. Bra sizes were probably discovered. Like, no matter how you try to do bra sizing, you're going to come into a realization that, like, again, like, because unlike every other piece of clothing, where it's one measurement, I mean, it's not actually, like, your legs need more than one measurement, but, like, oh god, that's so terrifying, the way that came from nowhere. Like, you know, when you're going for a really complex suit, you need multiple measurements. But, like, there are two distinct measurements, and you need to measure them relative to each other. Which is why you're always going to have some size thing that's, like, one size, two size. You could argue there are more sizes. Like, I don't think this exists, but it should. Like, super high-end bras should have, like, a third and a fourth measurement for the other, you know, more minor details, like, and also, like, you know, separate cup sizes for each thing. You know, you'd also have more precise. What I'm trying to say right here is that I think that most things you can make a pretty good argument that it was discovered, not created. Also, Boba T says he's a 15-year-old male and therefore doesn't need to know about bra size. See, that was my exact point, though. You genuinely do. you don't need to know about it now, right? Like, but like all of school, you know, if you're 15, you're in school, I hope. If you're not, then you're not. Hope you're not having too bad of an intransient life. But, see, this does taste better, I would say, than the other Bucks Fizz. I feel weird when I drink it out of the bottle on stream. I'm gonna stick a straw in there. No, the straw is a bad idea. I've learned that lesson the hard way. I'm gonna drink all of this water, and then I'm gonna use my water jug. But, but my point there is that, I think that you go to school exclusively to learn things that you don't already know. Yeah, like you don't need to know it now, but you might need to know it later, is the whole point of school. Like, you don't need to know about when the War of the Roses was. I actually never learned that in school. Everyone apparently did in the UK, but I didn't. You don't need to know that, like, Henry VIII had 8 wives. You know, like, what happened to his 6 wives? Sorry, not 8. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. You don't need to know that. But, like, you know, it's, first of all, some of it's like having a collective set of knowledge amongst all humans that ties us all together as a society. And some of it's like, oh yeah, they teach you about compound interest, even though you have no money because you're a 15-year-old, probably. I mean, you're a member. How are you you know, I'm not going to question how you get your money. You're going to need it at some point. And, like, when you need to buy your mother, your co-worker, your civil partner, a bra one day, and you will, you know, they're going to ask, hey, I need some help on this. Or you're not even going to need to. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I'd love to get them a gift. And I've always noticed they're saying, oh, my brassieres are just not good enough for me right now. If only there was some solution. If only some knight in shining armor could do this. And you'll be like, oh, wish I'd paid attention to the catch streams. He's always the guy I go to for advice about female bodies. So yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Now you know why you need to know about... there's all sorts of things you don't need to know about that are probably interesting to learn about anyway, though. Like, again, divorced, beheaded, survived, divorced, beheaded... No, divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Kind of interesting. Gives you... That's like a really tiny piece of knowledge that seems worthless by itself besides the whole common collective, right? But think about this, right? Just by learning that rhyme, that very catchy rhyme, by the way. That was £4 well spent, says Jessica Forsyth. You did in fact start a whole thing here. But is he telling us to measure our co-workers? So I mean, you know, actually, I don't think I can say yes to that. Anyway, so I think I'm trying to do this in a logical way, by the way. But it's so hard to... Any logical way is so hard to actually do. Like, logistically, I think. Unless we mine all the way down to the bottom layer of all of it, and we just have a flat, like, bottom. But it's very tricky, okay? Just so you know. Lamau, do not measure your co-workers. Without their consent. If they consent, you can do any... Wait. That doesn't seem like real advice either. So, the interesting thing about learning that rhyme about Henry V is 7 wives, Henry VIII is 6 wives. I know numbers, okay? Why are we talking about bras in the Minecraft stream again? Did you know 50% of the population wears bras? That is factually inaccurate. Did you know 40% of the population wears bras? And you don't even know about them. You don't even know what those numbers mean. Anyway, so I think the... I think that that piece of knowledge that seems worthless by itself, it tells you so much about medieval England. Like, again, the fact that you know Henry VIII's 6 wives. He had Catherine of Aragon, which is first of all, whenever I learn about the Aragon region of Spain, I'm like, oh, that's where one of Henry VIII's wives is from. Oh, he married a wife from a tactical region in another place. That's interesting, right? You know that his wife is from what is modern-day Spain. At the time was a set of crowns that owned some lands in Italy as well, interesting enough. But, like, you can learn about that later, or you can just know, oh, yeah, he married a princess from a faraway land, and he tried to have children with her. He had to divorce her because she was a noble woman, so you cannot kill her. Like, there was a rule amongst the elite of Europe at the time. You cannot kill a noble person. Like, even if you are at war with Spain and their royal comes to your country, you don't kill that royal. That is like extremely bad form. Even if you have deep disagreements and their princess they provided is not giving you children, you don't kill her. You cannot kill her. You have to divorce her. Except you can't get a divorce under the Catholic Church unless there is grounds for issuing the marriage. And so Henry VIII couldn't get one, had to start his own church, and he got a divorce in the end. Interesting, right? So then Anne Boleyn, his second wife, was a commoner. In fact, not just a commoner, it's a lady-in-waiting. And again, at the time, like lady-in-waiting, you don't know what it means. He had a side piece. Henry VIII has a side piece, and he also thank you Femboy Sephiroth. See, femboys need bras as well. Thank you for reminding me. Anyway, he has the second wife, Anne Boleyn, and she was one of his ladies-in-waiting. So while he was married to this noblewoman, this is like fine because it's like kind of done under the side, but like also everyone knows about it. He's also getting to get his rocks off with Anne Boleyn. But then so after and Anne Boleyn, like, by the way, she's not royalty, but she's like pretty high end. Like, she's not like a commoner woman. She is like a full-on, like, she's from a rich enough family, just not like as rich as the king. So he marries this second wife, and he marries her after having. Do we want the Ender Pearls? We don't want the Stone Sword at the very least. He marries a woman, and because this one is only kind of high up, he can just kill. He can make up charges, have her killed. Basically, they faked the law again. Like, this is one of those, like, is the law discovered or invented or whatever. He just kind of made up some charges and then got everyone to go along with it, and they killed her, and it was fine because, like, he wanted to have another wife, and it's kind of awkward when your current wife is still alive, so just kill her. Boom. Third wife, Jane Seymour, right? She survived. She died. This was his only wife that could produce an heir. He loved her because she could actually produce children. All he wants is, you know, to get his rocks off, but also, which of Henry VIII's wives wore glasses? Jane Seymour. High quality joke, Harrison. It's so hypocritical. He kills a wife for supposedly having an affair when he had so many. Yeah, but like kings having an affair is like, again, that's built into the system. You're the king. You have all the women of the land as long as they're not a noble person's wife. They're yours, you know. Again, that's weird. That's a thing you learn about the system. That like, oh yeah, there's so much of. If you think about the king system as a whole, it's absurd we ever had kings. But the reason we had kings is because when you have no king, someone becomes a king, they become the ruler, they get absolute power that they use to make sure the system runs, and a weird side effect of absolute power is being able to sleep with any of the ladies you want in the land. So, anyway, the third lady he decides to sleep with is Jane Seymour. She died, and he was sad about it, because having children now is this giant burden, it's this great expense. If you're a king, and even if you're not a king, like, for most of human history, having a children is like one of the key points of relationships, right? Like, you know, like I again, it's very weird to think about, especially in the modern world. But like having children was kind of the point of, and you know, like if you want to go biologically and like go back to Kate, like for almost the whole time humans have existed, we have intended procreation is like a key part of that. We have so many humans now because, you know, think about it. Every single ancestor you've ever had procreated at some point until they met, you know, like you don't have a grandfather that decided not to have kids, or he wouldn't be your grandfather. You know, you get me? Like you have direct descendants going all the way to the dawn of humanity because they all decided to have children. So anyway, so that's what makes Jane Seymour so important. So his next wife is Anne of Cleves, if I'm not mistaken, and so the lesson from this one is you learn about, like, at the time, if you ever look at pictures of people like Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn, etc., you see paintings of them. We didn't have photos back then. Pretty obvious, right? But so, just like how, you know how people use filters on their selfies to make themselves look prettier? If you know, like some people only show themselves with the dog filter on. I'm probably dating myself with that reference. But, like, people lie to themselves on their dating profiles. They lie on social media. You put, like, social media, because it's a curated version of yourself, you can put a version of yourself out in there that people don't like. And so, obviously, Anne of Cleves did the same thing, but in the painting world. She put a painting out of herself, you know, that she put this really pretty painting out of herself, And when she showed up in person, she was ugly. She did not, in fact, look like the pretty dog with the delightful cheeks. She just had a very, what's the word, like, favorable artist. The artist made a very favorable impression of her. And so Henry VIII is like, oh god, why did I agree to marry her? Why did I get so horny on this dating app? And then he gets her killed too. I don't know what excuse he used for that one, honestly. It's probably hypocritical, but he's the king. He does what he wants, and that includes killing people. If, you know, like, that'll teach you to have a misleading picture, you know, misleading profile picture on Tinder. Because you might accidentally end up matching with the king, and then the king might decide that you're going to die for treason, because at a certain level of power, you make up the rules. And that's less true now, but learning that it's been true for a lot of history might be very useful. Then his next wife is, oh god, I feel like it's another Catherine, right? She's an important person from somewhere. I forget how she ended up, actually. And then his last wife, Catherine Parr, is a really interesting, again, it's a, this isn't like quite, this isn't history, but it is like a reminder of like how humans work. He was just really old. I'm sure she was like good to him, you know, in a romantic and/or you know, getting his rocks off way. But what you learn about that is like all he really wants is he just wants to be nurtured a little bit, you know? That's all he's going for. King literally, says Spudsprout. he just wants someone to look after him because he's being fat at that point in time. In fact, it's very bizarre if you think about it right now. Like social status generally sees being skinny as being the valuable thing, right? Like if you were gonna fake your photos on Tinder, you'd fake yourself to look thinny, not skinny, not fat. To be thin is to be attractive. But for most of history, being fat is not only a way of showing wealth, but it's also like, yeah, if you're a large, you know, you're a large lady, that means you're gonna have my child with no issues. Whereas thin ladies, it's gonna get stuck in there or something. So you know, therefore, you know, like that, he's very fat because he's been trying to show off his social status all his life, and that's had some health effects. And yeah, also he's got like 3 children at this point, but they're all ladies, right? No, two lady children and 1 male child. He likes his male child, but he doesn't speak to him too much. And there you go. Canada learns none of this. I feel like I'm watching a HBO show. Wait, in Canada you don't learn about Henry VIII and his 6 wives? But yeah, like, my point is that rhyme teaches you all of that kind of tangentially. It at least puts it into your brain that like, oh, the reason she survived him is because she was incredibly smart about how she did that marriage. She survived Henry VIII specifically because she realized, oh, he can have his wives killed at any moment. I will stay on his good side. I will try to advance my goals as far as like getting his children out there, etc. But like what he says, go. He's the king, and if he wants something, even if that involves cheating on me. Did he have? I wonder if he I bet that like he had ladies in waiting on her. Maybe he didn't because he was just sold. He didn't even want that. But she made sure that she could outlive him, and then she lived the rest of her days very happily. She even remarried. Get this: once you're married to the king, that's the only thing you get, but not her. Also, Shelby says, Shelby, Also, QT314 says, thoughts on solipsism. I always forget the exact definition of solipsism, but it's that thing with like when you realize everyone else is a real person too, right? Is that the one? Henry VIII just wanted a boy. Yeah, so again, you might think, why did he want a boy? He's a sexist mongrel, right? And I mean, like, probably too, right? But but no, the reason he wanted a boy is because it's called primogeniture. Okay, this is the most fascinating history thing to me. How do you work out how it's the opposite? You think you're the only person. Oh, my bad. I wonder what the opposite of solipsism is called. This is so ridiculous, but I can't stop watching, says Tommy Flag. Hey, I'm glad you're liking it. I hope you stay around for at least 5 more minutes. Yeah, I can't believe I managed to say the exact opposite of the correct thing there. Anyway, so the interesting thing about like why Henry VIII wanted a son too, like why that whole thing was just so he could have a child that was male. He had 2 female children, but it's funny because both the female children ended up becoming rulers. But the problem is, actually, yeah, primogeniture. So even like let's just go with rules of succession. If you have someone who is king because they used extreme force, let's say they had Again, they used force to get into charge. When they die, someone else is going to want to use force to be in charge. So what you do is you say, when the person in charge dies, he decides who is going to succeed him. But what if he dies before he decides who succeeds him? Well, there's a set of rules that exist. So even if they die, even if someone tries to argue they change their mind, it's set in stone. And so in the royal family, this has generally been done as like the oldest male heir who is not a Catholic. You can't be a Catholic anymore, at least. And so you might think, why do we need those rules? And because when you don't have those rules, there is a civil war that begins. Because if the rules are unclear, if the rules are even slightly unclear, imagine if after an election, right, you know, the reason democracy works so well, you know, it's the least worst system besides all others. The reason it works at all is because when the election is held, any sane observer can look at it and go, well, they won, didn't they? You know, even if you didn't like the a particular prime ministerial, whether a particular political party or a particular presidential candidate, if you don't like that they won, you can still admit, well, under the rules we have right now, they are the rightful rulers of the land. And the reason that you need that is because if there's even some amount of doubt, if people can argue, oh no, actually, I think you'll find that under my rules that I've just written myself, it's actually like that. The Biden didn't win thing. Oh, that's one of those weird conspiracy theories. I don't like to... It's, again, like it works for some people, though. They're like, ah, yes, I found my world in which I don't have to acknowledge reality. Because, again, for most people, reality is just who is in charge is in charge. Not to Trump supporters, they still refuse to accept he lost the election. Yeah, it's I think you're right though, but like that's only like 0.1%. Like again, this was the craziest time because this time it resulted in like the White House being stormed. But generally speaking, when there's an election, people know who won it. But in medieval times, they had to work this out because if there's even some amount of doubt, let's say two children of the same ruler both argue they should be the next king because they were trained by the king. You know, like they were the favorite king's son, and they would. And even if one is the rightful king, if one just argues, I would be a better king if you pledge your loyalty to me. I'll make sure you are well looked after. Everyone's going to pledge their loyalty, and that might work, but it also might cause a civil war. Civil war is the worst type of war to have. It only benefits the people fighting. Big problem, right? So that's the English system, right? That's how primogeniture works, which is the royal family's system. But other countries have very different systems. This is the genuinely most bizarre thing, and you can look it up because it's gonna sound fake. The Ottoman Sultanate is Sultanate's what they call king, to be simple. It wasn't the White House that was stormed. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, it was the House of Representatives. My apologies on that one. I get the government building things mixed up. I think it's called Congress, right? Anyway, so but like they're both called Congress because whatever. America's confusing. Anyway, so so the point I'm trying to make right here is in the Ottoman Empire where they have their Sultanate, the Ottoman king, let's just call them. The way they worked it out is like, oh, we need to pick an heir, and then every other heir to the throne can only be allowed like freedom. You know, if there is an heir to the throne, he gets to be doing his own thing, right? Great, wonderful. But if you allow other heirs to the throne, you know, if you allow the second in line to the throne to be out doing his own thing, he might start scheming to take over the throne. That's bad. So what they do is, if the male ruler has two male children, the first, you know, his chosen heir gets to live his life normally. He gets to be trained to be the next king, and the other male heir gets locked in a cage, right? It's I think it's literally called the cage. It might be called the pit. Again, it went in and out of use over a few times, so it's got a few different names. But there's this building called the cage, and any male heir like that could potentially be in line to the throne, they put in this cage. And the reason they put them in the cage is because if you're in the cage, you can't cause problems. And so they locked away their, you know, again, like being the king's son sounds amazing, But in that case, they'd be locked in there. And see, this is where the dilemma comes in, because to not make it hell, because again, the king probably liked his children. I'm not going to go as far as say love. Since we've gone politics and religion, can we go Star Wars, or is this too far? You know what? We cannot go that far. That is the most impolite one in casual conversation. Politics, religion, fine. No Star Wars. Not on my watch, Jessica. So they lock their child in a cage. Here's the interesting bit though. So if you're the king's child that's not the heir, you get locked in a cage. Your life sucks. However, to make that balanced, in the cage they would also put, I've heard that it's hundreds of women, but I don't believe that. They put all the food you could ever want. Like, they would make you food every day. The food you request. You're the king's son, after all. They put, like, hundreds of women, which, again, like, imagine a world where women are currency. Boom, there you go. I guess you could just say our world. But, like, you know, it's at the very least the type of social currency nowadays, right? So, like, they'd give you access to all of that you want. They'd give you all the food. They'd give you all your earthly desires. But you'd be locked in a cage. You could not have your freedom. Is that a worthwhile trade? And like, I feel like that. Okay, you know what, chat? Would you like to be locked in a cage with all of your basic needs met, but you're locked in a cage? Like, and that's a very real way we sell things out. How many women does the next map cost as Adorable Ho? If you can pay $4 or one woman. There you go, chat. That is the new exchange rate we've worked. Well, that's a very low exchange rate. That's very insulting. You know, you can pay 0.01. How big is the cage? Oh, the cage is like it's a very, like you're picturing like a pretty small cage. It's realistically a palace. You're locked in a palace. At the very least, like a substantial annex to it. No, maybe, nah, maybe. And then, like, realistically, a lot of these heirs would spend their entire lives in the cage. Because once you're born, you're surplus to requirements. Okay, now chat. Now allow me to offend the female viewers even more here. I'm sorry. But, again, this is like one of those examples of like history is like how we value things being very different to today. They cut off all of the women's tongue in there because obviously, if the women could speak, they could keep royal secrets. Or, you know, and if they ever left the cage, they could, like, communicate that. So they cut out the tongues of all the women in the cage. Which, again, is, like, a lot of women to cut the tongues out of. And if they ever had a baby, to avoid that baby being part of the line of succession, again, the king is in charge of making new babies. But if their heir has a child, that makes things complicated. So they would just drown it. Again, it feels like there are better ways to get rid of babies than drowning women. But, you know, that's how they do it. And so yeah, basically, yeah, that's what they did. Hundreds of them too. Like, this is no quarantine, but whole life. Yeah, right. It literally is quarantine. Like, I bet they'd have real messed up problems with being not exposed to germs. Like, one of the things I've always been aware of is like, I am very dumb, and I was very dumb as a child, like dumber than I am now, with like licking things unnecessarily, you know? I feel like that's probably given me like a higher than average germ load of my life. Why do you know this? I love weird medieval quirks of history. Like, again, like when you apply modern day morality to history, it gets messed up fast. It gets very messed up very quickly. Anyway, if you look at things objectively rather than morally, this all makes sense. Yeah, right. Like that. If you go for the moral angle, it's like that is messed up. If you're going for like, well, that sacrifice those 100 women made unwillingly, because again they didn't have a choice in it, but that sacrifice they made was enough to keep the country under control and enough to make sure that, you know, there weren't huge, you know, like that. Having stability in a country is something that is worth a huge amount. Like the fact that they don't even consider the 100 women and the cruelty to the male heir and also to the 100 people locked in there. Is it 100? It might be hundreds. Let me look it up. Ottoman Empire, the cage. The Kafi. So it's called Kafis. Literally, the cage was part of the Imperial Harem. And the Imperial Harem was... Let me get a number on this one. I don't want to... Like, I don't want it to be like 12, and then I'm saying it's 100. Give me a number here. So they were introduced during their tender age, and they were brought up in the discipline of the palace, and they shared his bed when a member of the dynasty. They had eunuchs in there as well. That's fun. Can you give me a number? Okay, Ottoman Imperial harem number. How many? Between 800 and 1200. Why do you need that many? Why? Come on, guys. Come on. That is too many. That is not the correct number. That is like, that's not even excessive. That's just, you know, like that's like, I don't know. It's like, do you need 1,000 jugs of wine for yourself? No. Do you need 1,000, you know, legs of ham? No. Do you need 1,000 pints of milk when you go to the store?
Some have argued that suffering occurs because if people can't make bad decisions that cause suffering, then they aren't really free. Doesn't apply to all situations, but it's still a valid point.
I actually do think there's something interesting about that. Like, when you take away someone's ability to do something bad, you make them, I think, like, you'd figure, like, okay, I want people to not even have the ability to murder me. I want it to be, if you try to murder me, it doesn't work. But the fact that everyone around me chooses not to kill me every day, like today I was on a train, someone could have taken my seat if they did just kill me, and they didn't. I had a wallet on me as well. No one has killed me with my wallet just far in my life. Even though there is at least, right now there's like £5 and ATP to be gained from doing so. Plus my sub card, I have enough sub points to buy a footlong. So that's like another £5 alone there, right? That sounds so sad and lonely for the girls, they can't even talk to each other. I can't, like, I feel like they can't have cut out the tongues of 1,000 women. Like, that seems too high. Like, for 100, it's like, okay, that's like a, again, logical way to keep the secrets. But like, 1,000, you know, I draw the line at 1,000 tongues being cut out. That is too many, if you ask me. Okay, we're gonna switch pickaxes now, by the way, to an Unbreaking 2, like the peasant we are. I guess I'm getting £4.80 tonight, says Awesome Mara. What are you gonna do with the extra pound? I'm very confused. History is filled with racism and sexism, says Caitlin. I think, again, like, I know that, like, yeah, because I'm lucky that with my complexion, I would probably do well in some parts of, a lot of parts of history. Well, when we say a lot of parts of history, a lot of part of Western history, right? Like, there's a lot of parts of the world where I'm not going to do well, even today, with this. But, like, I get what you're saying. The parts of history that you know, you'll do better off if you're male and if you're white. But also, like, the egalitarianism is a recent movement because we've become more equal. Power has not been concentrated equally. And moving it, like, again, this is the interesting thing that, like, you learn from history. Like, people have put up with a lot worse than we have now. Like, a lot worse. Like, seriously, 1,000 people being, you get me? I mean, the guards were eunuchs, so I think they got the short straw when it came to the cutting thing. Oh, yeah. See, right, that's the thing about men during... Okay, you know, I'm not going to try and do a one-upmanship thing here, but let's do it. So, if you don't know what a eunuch is, chat, it's a, you know, I don't feel comfortable saying it here, but they have something a lot worse than their tongue cut off when they are very young. Actually, is it worse than a tongue? There's a debate for that I'm not going to dive into. Yeah, so there is, eunuchs are... obviously, like, if you don't, like, there is a big distrust, especially in a lot of cultures, not so much in the ones we're used to, but there's a bit, any man who has their manhood in touch has gonna have ambition. Honestly, I don't understand why you need that to have ambition and goals, but I guess, you know, at the very least they can't father children, so sure, whatever. But, like, yeah, the fact that, like, oh yeah, every man is just assumed to have enough ambition that he will topple the throne if not given if you give him the choice, he will topple our entire way of society. So we have to chop that off just in case, you know. But yeah, like the really interesting thing about hormones. Oh yeah, no, there literally is a hormonal response. You're right, Phosphorus. I'm dumb. I always forget that there's like two halves of what's going on down there, and one half creates all the hormones that you need for things. Anyway, but like yeah, if you look back at history, you realize the reason that people accepted this, like there was no huge outrage at the time. Like unlike if you go back to like, I don't know, women not being able to vote. There were many movements throughout history to do so. If you go back to slavery, like at pretty much any point in time, people have been uncomfortable with the idea of it. But if you look back 500 years ago to the imperial harem and the 800 women with no tongues and the guards who had to have their manhoods removed so that they could be, you know, like honest guards or whatever. It's like, well, that is the price we pay to have a stable governance. Like without having a stable world, everything else doesn't exist. And that's what a lot of people forget, I think. Like by making an unstable world, you might benefit in the short term. Maybe. But everyone loses when you have an unstable world. One of the key planks of everything and everyone is stability. The worst punishment was to cut it off, but the meat but not the two veg. I see that as being why that would work, Mr. Jeff Watkins. I want to thank you for the fact that the Gravel Toy Cat skin exists now. You're welcome, Mr. Godzilla. You're very welcome. Yeah, it was believed the guards would assault the women if they weren't eunuchs. See, right, like that that's like imagine that was like the nowadays thing, like, oh, well, we'll allow you into society as long as, but like, you know, there's gonna be lots of attractive women here, so we're gonna have to chop that off, you know. Like, oh, you wanna be a, you know, a gym teacher for an all-girls school? We're gonna have to, sorry, it's just, we can't trust you otherwise. Like I say, to some extent, trust is kind of a modern enough concept. Like, we've always had trust of some form, but like, the things we decide to trust people for are always changing. Again, I trust that people won't murder me for my £5.80. I hope this makes you uncomfortable, but also that you learn things. I like to learn things. I'm also very uncomfortable. See, right, I think that, even in recent histories, boys would be castrated so they could sing without their voice dropping. Wait, really? Oh my god, that's such a minor reason to do it, too. See, like, at least when it's like, oh yeah, for the benefit of society, we would sacrifice these 1,000 or so people. There are some extreme feminists that would do that. I think the thing is, it would improve certain things, which is kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, I know it's undoubtable that every terrible thing you can suggest would improve society in some way. The big lesson that everyone forgets about is that almost every terrible thing that's been done by humans has been done in the name of something good. Like I don't think there's a single person, even your most like ardent anti-communist, who's not like, well, if you can magically make it happen, then sure, a more equal society is better. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like, but when doing things in the name of utopia is what leads to the terrible tragedies. Like, because when you focus on the good you're causing and you see the harm as a necessary evil, if you see it as like, well, harm is relative but good is absolute. No, good is relative and harm tends to be absolute. Humans go through so much, like, an inordinate amount of suffering in life, as it is. Not going through suffering is a bizarre position. Like, if you don't know someone that hasn't suffered at all, then you don't know that person. Sorry, it's just factual, right? If you hear about a good idea and you don't think that it would be doing some good, you probably don't understand the idea correctly. That's always my like kind of take. I wanna understand the good that someone thinks they're causing with an idea, because if you don't understand that, then you're prone to letting them do it and letting them cause some problems for you and for everyone else. And so yeah, you can you like I think this is the one lesson that like this I would say this is like the one real defining political lesson that like people get sometimes young, sometimes old, is like how much harm is worth causing to create good. And the answer is you need to find the lowest bar you're comfortable setting it to. Because creating harm is something you will do. Like, people can work their way out of a harmful, like, the world itself, they can find their own solution. But when you alter the world to make it more uncomfortable for some people, I don't know. You're literally talking about the most basic Buddhist commandments. Maybe I'm secretly a Buddhist. Maybe that's my whole life, and I just didn't know about it. But yeah, I think that if you know someone who hasn't suffered, punch them in the face. Yeah, people who haven't suffered don't understand, like, so much about the world, right? And, like, I kind of am jealous of them on that level. Like, imagine not knowing pain. But also, it's, like, I tend to find it's the people who've suffered the least, who advocate for the most good forward things. Like, if you speak to people who have suffered, their ideal is like a world with slightly less suffering, please. If you speak to people who have never experienced discomfort, when you speak to people who have never experienced discomfort, the only way up for them is like, what if we had absolute utopia where I never had to feel bad that, like, I had something good? Like, what if we could create that utopia? Oh, we might have to kill we might have to kill 100 million people for a great leap forward in society. That seems worthwhile to me. And this is okay. This is the fascinating thing that you might think about that, because if you look at again, the single thing you study most, whether you're a ardent whether you're like a super left or right guy, it doesn't matter about your political leanings, but it's like, what are the most death-causing regimes in the world? Think regimes that lead to war cause a lot of their young men to die in what I would argue is unnecessary. War is a way that lots of people die defending a country. Boom, war, terrible. What else? Okay, so people recently, it's not even just war, but a lot of people are willing to kill their own people. Like, if you kill political distance, you can keep thought ideology that's the same. It's like, okay, so they kill people who disagreed because their ideas were so great. It's like, and they thought their ideas were great? Okay, interesting. But if you look at what the leaders that kill people in the name of good, like, not war, they didn't have to be like, this is a sacrifice worth making. They didn't even see it as a sacrifice, really, in most cases. If you look at the USSRs of the world, the fascinating thing is how they grow up in wealthy countries that aren't their own. If you look at a lot of socialist movements across Africa, the same thing is true. It's like, oh, this is a wildly popular. There's the guy from I don't want to get the country wrong, but I think it's Zimbabwe. Is an incredibly posh British person, basically, right? Like, he's obviously ethnically from the tribe. I forget the name of it, the Shona people, I think. But he got his ideology because he was very well off, and, like, isn't that worthwhile? Suffering a little bit to help the whole is one thing, but killing 100 people for the good of society is what leads to ethnic genocide. Yeah, imagine, like, it's an interesting thing, because taking on pain until you do it yourself, you don't know what you're like. Here's an interesting thing, right? I despise phone calls. I will never put someone in a situation where they have to phone call me, because of the craziness that situations I hate. I will try to avoid for other people because the pain is too great for me to want to put on someone else. Imagine if you're like, oh yeah, I can deal with this pain, and so I guess 100. I would be willing to die for my beliefs. So therefore, I'm going to kill 100 people with my beliefs, and that is that's like, oh yeah, no, that's killing people for your beliefs isn't noble. It's an interesting little asterisk in humanity that dying for your beliefs is something that many religions have been founded around. Many movements of like if you look at the Irish Republican movement, right? The two people, Connolly and Houston, they're like two of the big ones. The reason that you'll learn about them if you're Irish, I assume. I don't know for sure. Docked again. Well, that is really interesting that that's happened twice now. Anyone can kill and die for their beliefs. Few can allow themselves to be killed without resisting for their beliefs. Right, that's the interesting thing, though. People find it to be so much more interesting when you don't do... Like, it's the obvious thing when you believe in something is to spread that belief and to try and get as many people believing it and to, you know, like to be willing to risk it all, you know, taking risks, etc. But to just be like, yeah, I will die. No, like if you look at most of history's most well-regarded people, they're people who died because of their beliefs. Not because people who kill for their beliefs, it's just like, well, that's standard-ish human behavior. It sadly has a resurgence somewhat recently. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy thing. Anyway, so it's not a good day for the stream, I agree. The monks who burn themselves. Oh wait, chat. I've got 20 minutes to order myself some dessert. Should I do it? Yes or no? I want you to decide. Wait, I want to see if the dessert place is still open. It is Easter Sunday. No, it's not open anymore. They said they were open till 11:30. Maybe 11:45. Maybe midnight. Okay, so the last time I ordered from this place, and every time I've ordered from them, it's been incredibly sad food, right? Like, I just haven't enjoyed it. And the last time I ordered from them, they had a spider in my ice cream. However, I still would kind of like to, I do want ice cream, and they're the only place open. Should I order from them anyway? You know? This is like an interesting thing, like, should you... The good... If you're being a good, you know, capitalist, or a good, you know, person... If you're trying to support good decisions, you should, like, not support bad companies, do support good ones. However, no spiders in ice cream are an automatic no. But what if I just don't order ice cream? What if I order cookie dough, you know? Can't get spiders in cookie dough, I hope. Oh, I've got a full inventory again. A mosquito trained in my ice cream. Eat the spider, extra protein, crunch, crunch, says Katia C. I agree. Crunch, crunch, indeed. Is it best kebab? We all know best kebab is great for kebabs, but not too much else. Honestly, I might just get a kebab. You know what they say? You stream for enough hours in a row, you deserve a kebab. That's what they say. Don't ask me who they is. But they do say it. Don't complain over free toppings. Harder to notice spiders and cookie dough, says Scott Taylor. One of the mods on the street, you know, Chantal, you all know her. Know and love her, I will even go as far as to say. Said she found a spider in a cashew once. And, like, she ruined my favorite nut for me. And I feel like that's the worst thing you can do for someone. That's why I don't want to name the chain of this place. Like, they are probably very great everywhere else. But the one near me, they put a spider in my ice cream, and now I feel kind of uncomfortable ordering there.
How's the house stuff going? Also, sorry for missing so many streams. Maybe I haven't became part of chat yet. Lol.
You have in fact not become part of chat, Brody Privet. Don't worry, you're still individual. You know, that's a confusing thing for anyone who isn't familiar with that 10-hour stream. If you didn't watch the 10-hour stream. Sad, sad, sad. Anyway, so the house stuff's going well. I honestly, like, I finally got all the stuff. Well, actually, like, after I'm next paid, it's all gonna finally be in an order where I'm not terrified about. Like, I think I've worked out the numbers, made it all work. They're doing some searches on the property right now. Like, they're checking to see if they've, like, done some work in the last, you know, like, that. Again, if you're not familiar with houses, you have to, like, make sure that you're buying something that's not falling apart. Most people don't sell houses that way, but some people do. And I know exactly what that means because I was here for the 10-hour stream. Oh, I'm very sweaty today, by the way. Do you want to see? Wait, can you see with a black t-shirt? Oh, you can. See, look how gross that is. That is just since streaming. That's how hot this room gets. I don't understand why. I get, like, despicably hot. Anyway, so, I I'm in that phase. I've actually been planning a lot of stuff with it. Like, so there's this. I've got an aversion to spending money. I've said this before, chat. I like money, and a key part, like, people think that the biggest part about making money is making money. The second biggest part, though, that people forget is you've got to not spend money. The less money you spend, the more money you have. If you spend all your money, then you won't have any money anymore. So I've got like an aversion to spending again, but like sometimes they'll screw you. I spent too much on this webcam that now I'm gonna replace anyway when I move and buy like a nice camera. Honestly, I should probably just try to set up my current camera. Anyway, so I'm gonna set it all up anyway. Not surprised you're sweating in the office with a hoodie on. I have a radiator that's been turned off forever. It's literally just my electronics in a house that was built to insulate. Also, thank you.
It was a mass aside and remains a big mystery. People still don't know why so many PPL willingly partook in it. Hey, just had leftover money.
Hey, thank you, Dwight Lamau, for the leftover money. Do appreciate it. Okay, so Heaven's Gate is a situation I'm familiar with. It's a cult. I want to say in like southern LA or something. Like it's a surprisingly big city that it's from. You picture it being a really rural place, but it's like, no, these are city people. So I don't think it's a mystery. I think this sounds I don't want to sound like I'm being too dismissive of humans. I think assuming bad things from humans is like a shockingly common thing. You know, humans aren't all terrible. We're just mostly terrible. One of the things that humans are very good at is following ideas that match our own. We try to replicate, you know, the reason that when those people I was talking about martyred themselves, when Martin Luther King died, his message grew 100 times because people were like, yeah, actually, I think that the content of your heart is so much more important than the color of your skin. You know, he's been so long dead that people have forgotten that bit, sadly. But from both angles, right? That's the weirdest thing, that I find at least. Like, Dwight Lamau, thank you for becoming a channel member as well. You are clearly a hero. Yeah, there's this, there is this very funny thing, that like, we will follow ideas that we align with and believe in, and I think that I think that that's not shocking, and I think it's surprising. Like if even the most strong, like there are people I would get behind their ideas for, maybe to a worrying extent, and then think about like, well, that's me. I wouldn't kill myself for any idea.
I bet it's been a bit. I changed my name since last time I was here. Was called Shark Boy. Mostly over in Silence server and I'm one of the mods there now. How are you? Also, you should get a waffle cone ice cream with rainbow.
I want a waffle cone ice cream with rainbow and chocolate sprinkles so bad. But again, I have to order from the place that put a spider in my ice cream. So I've got to like deal with that mental conflict. But I totally will. Yeah, I do want to say that I appreciate your tip, Mr. Casper and or Shark Boy. Indeed, I do remember you, Mr. Shark Boy. Thank you so much for the mega tip. It's very appreciated. I think I might end up buying a kebab. Also, imagine if people in the restaurant industry thank people for tips in front of everyone. Says Game Mode Cat. Yeah, that is one of the weird things about streaming. Like, I get why, but also, yeah, like, thank you to Table 6 for the $50 tip. Along with their tip, they would like you to know that they find the story of Heaven's Gate interesting. It was a mass suicide, and it remains a big mystery. People still don't know why so many people willingly partook in it. Thank you, M from Table 5. I combined two together there. I'm sorry, Casper, for stealing your glory and giving it to M. M doesn't deserve your glory. Seems you like cats. Thank you, Table 8, also known as Dwight Lamau, for the $20 tip. That's right, he tipped $20 over at Table 8. While we're here, anyway, Dwight Lamau, I do like cats. Thank you for raising it. I don't know why American restaurants are allowed to top up pay with tips. I think the, like, tips, like anything else, are a divisive issue where, like, the top 20% of people paid by tips are like, don't you dare ruin this for me. And then, like, the middle 50% are like, it's a fair system. The customers choose how much to pay me. And then the bottom 50% are like, I make so much less than minimum wage. And that's kind of how the system was designed. It's got like a scary root and not quite racism, but like, yeah, quite racism. You run out of table numbers, says Avio H. 2 more and that's it. Hey, thank you, Dwight Lamau. I wonder why you removed your own message there. What an interesting... You know, I didn't know you could remove your own super chat message before it went live, but apparently you can. But staying open is a good business decision, and at least you'd be supporting that, says Morrigan Lestrange. See, right, there is that too. Like, I hate places that close... Also, they're doing it on Easter. That seems bizarre. Aren't tips seen as rude in Europe? I know it could be rude in some Asian countries. Yeah, it's rude in Japan. In Europe, it's not expected. It's a pleasant surprise. That's how tips should be. No, let's not do it. Let's not impart my European values on you, on this world. You don't need to know or care about it. If you live in America, you love tips, or you don't love them. You're not going to change your mind here. But, would you shame the person who tipped $1 and yell it across the restaurant? Do you hear this? Colin McDougal tipped $0. I'm sorry, Colin. I'm just trying to pick a random name. Do you hear that? Boss Delphinus not only tipped $0, but he told me about his pee break. Everyone shame Boss Delphinus at table number 17. You know. Also, Toycat is the only cat I like. Neighborhood cat scratching my door around midnight. Very scary. I wish I had a neighbor cat that I could just take. That's what I want in a cat. When someone starts talking about e-scooters again, I'm going to start a timer for the tips conversation. Every stream, we discuss scooters and tips, and if we don't, that means that I'm held hostage. Please, someone get me, let me be safe. Yeah, I need everyone who wished me luck to know that I was lucky all the way through the fight and did buckets. So, I don't know what you're saying. Oh, wait, you had your end fight, right? Nice. In Brazil, tips are a surprise too, and I like that way. Yeah, right. I feel like anything being obligated ruins... some amount... When you're obligated and you don't want to do a thing, it ruins the nice thing for you. Maybe not for the recipient, but I feel like for them too. Like, when people feel obligated to get me gifts, it's terrible. If it's like, here is a... Like, this is why I like the tip system. Like, wow, Squid Tarded, what a fun name you have. Or Caitlin Smith, good to see you, by the way. Did you know that 60% of women are wearing the incorrect bra size? I bet you wouldn't have learned that if you didn't watch my stream. And now your 2 seconds of attention are used to let you know that. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell anyone in chat. But get that looked at. It's like a leaky gutter. Doesn't seem like a problem, but it'll compound all of the other problems in your life. You know, I bet there's a similar thing for like, you know, my sock size is probably squeezing my socks too much. See, now we've gone back to bras. That means we're only about 10 minutes away from e-scooters again. So I'm excited for that. We're gonna get back into the problem with e-scooters and indeed laws, and then you know, is it? See, this is the thing we didn't consider. 99% of IBX Toycat subscribers wear the correct bra size. That's the new stat. We're gonna after this conversation. If you're still wearing the wrong bra size, chat, it's because you want to wear the wrong bra size. I'm sorry. Maybe we should go back to corsets, much more flexible and cozy. I watched a video. It's by some really well-spoken British woman. No, she's not British. She's American, but she speaks British. I should look into why that is. Anyway, I watched. She's like really into corsets, and I watched a video of her explaining it, and I finished the end being like, well. Fair enough, I guess. We need a dual rant about e-scooters and tipping. Why is it that when police stop me on my e-scooter, they demand a $50 tip? Isn't that kind of messed up? See, right, imagine if they stop me and they're like, hey, this is not okay, but if you'd like to make it feel okay, you could tip $50. You know, imagine if the police pull you over for speeding and they're like, hey, this isn't okay. If you'd like to, here's my tip jar. You could put $50 in there, and we'd throw it right past us. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a 10-minute rant about to get bra merch. See, I actually think, okay, you know what, chat, tell me if I'm wrong. I think I'd get in trouble if it's a very terrible idea ignoring me getting in trouble too. But I feel like that's the sort of thing that'll be held against me in 10 years. Be like, wow, Toycat assuming that his audience something, you know. She's American, but she speaks British. Exactly. She speaks a different language to the rest of you savages over there. Wait, that's a bribe. I'm just saying, bribery sounds great to me. When a table jokes about, oh, you didn't do X, I'm not going to tip you how, I should respond, that's okay, I didn't come to work expecting a handout. Now you get a larger than expected tip from them. Michelle, I'm curious. How long have you been working in a restaurant, right? I remember you said, like, when we were doing the Never Mountain stream, see, good memory for very specific super chats from one person. You said you were a tipped employee. How long have you been doing it for? And do you like it? Give me your one sentence. Give me your one sentence version of. Actually, wait, 4 sentences. I'll give you 3 sentences to do it. I guess too many underage viewers, right? But it's like, if I sold Toycat branded whiskey, which, you know, I do have this plan. At some point, it's gonna be like 10 years down the line. I would love to make my own melon liqueur. Because the only problem with Midori is it's not sweet enough. I want to make, this is actually my thing. I want to make alcohol for people who don't drink alcohol. That is my goal at some point in life, to be successful enough that I can actually set that up. Like, ideally it'd be a whole line, right? I want to have beer for people who hate beer. I want to have wine for people who hate wine. I want to have spirits for people who actually not spirits. Spirits are just spirits. But I want to have like a liqueur for people who want a strong drink but hate strong drinks. You know, that's like the dream. That's one of those things I've been thinking about a long time. Because, you know, the majority of people who don't drink alcohol, savages, okay for it. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. It's like alcohol and bra merch. More sugar just means more hangover. I disagree. You can't see it correctly, but this is just like, it's fizzing so much that I can't actually drink it. I'm interested, says Scott Taylor. Yeah, I'm gonna sell Toycat bras and Toycat alcohol. See, the bra thing, like, I feel like all you have to do, again, you know, I don't want to start a lingerie company, but I really do think all you've got to do is be like, hey, this is objectively measured for the, you know, like, for that size. Here's how you size it. You'll never have to work out your sizes and a bunch of things again. Also, like, but again, I'm like, because I'm a guy, I could never sell a lingerie company. Like, no one's gonna trust that coming from me. Whereas alcohol, men do in fact drink alcohol. I've seen them a few times. Also, Michelle, I want to find your tipping thoughts. I feel like I missed them. Oh, there we go. I've been a tip worker for 3 years, and while the work itself is hit or miss, I appreciate my awesome co-workers. Relying on flippant generosity of others is not the most secure feeling. I can confirm, as someone who, like, there is a reason that these streams are always like the additional money. Like, it's never like like, to me, this is like, thank you so much, Cracked Magnet. Who I missed, by the way. Would you like to cheese a speed run world record? There's a few records where a better seed would make it easy to beat. Won't last long, but it's still fun. Oh, Cracked Magnet! I literally have been thinking about that exact idea. I'm so sorry I missed you. I've been wanting to do that forever. Like, beat a speed run, a dumb speed world record by proving the power of seeds. And I was going to spend a long time looking for a good all-or seed recently, for example. Victoria's Secret owner is a guy, I think. Oh, yeah, but, Toycat, there's a solution to the wrong size bar problem. Don't rare one, says Reynolds. I will not take that slander in this household. No, I think that is a surprisingly common choice. Like, I understand why. And, like, you know, from the perspective of the people doing it, it's better. But, like, will we not consider Toycat when we make these decisions? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so it's like your Minecraft out X series, alcohol about alcohol. Right, honestly, I think that, oh, by the way, yeah, in the UK, the drinking age is 18. So we could also be like, oh yeah, isn't your biggest problem with alcohol that you have to wait till you're 21 to buy it in America? We'll sell it to you when you're 18. It's going to be very illegal, and I'm going to get shut down very quickly. But okay, no, I really do think alcohol for people who don't like alcohol is like, it's just such an untapped, like it's a thing people want. It's like how if I was a woman and I had that exact same pitch for lingerie, it'd be like, yeah, women, but bras for women by women. You just got all you gotta do to have a successful business idea, for X by X. Like it's water cups for people who don't like water cups, or even not water cups made by water cups for water cups. It's a great idea, honestly, says Kaylin Smith. It is it's something I came up with because so many YouTubers are doing the whole custom-made coffee thing, and it just comes from this like same factory, and it's like, well, that they sometimes like alter the taste, but not really. It's like no, you got to do this properly, right? I should look into that. You know what? I'm gonna look into that at some point. You implying there's bras for men too? Yeah, that honestly, that is like, that's an untapped market. Bras for men, right? Or even, oh no, actually wait. Oh yeah, I just realized I was being semi-sarcastic, but 2020, I'm so unprogressive, I'm progressive. Checkmate. That is factually a thing that we need. Weed for people who don't like drugs. Yeah, like, drugs for people who don't like drugs, but, like, want to go to a party and seem like they like drugs. Like, ooh, I got some, what pills have I got here? Some Predextrone. You don't know Predextrone? That's probably a real drug, isn't it? Predextrone. Predextrone is not... Progesterone is a drug. Oh, it's one of the women drug. Wow, we're obsessed with women today, huh? Anyway, Ice Maiden says she switched to the corset and never went back. You know, it's interesting that that's actually a real solution that works. So you can't brew with alcohol. I think that, I really do think that, like, versions of things for people who don't like the thing is a really underrated field. Because that kind of goes back to what we're saying this whole thing. This sounds like it's a pitch for an alcohol line I'm about to make. Again, I want to make this. I don't think I actually can. In the same way I'd love to start a lingerie company. But totally don't think I should. This is one of those, like, you ever made a map art? There's lots of map art on 2BTT. And since you do big projects, I figured maybe it's something you've done. Oh, I've intended to do it forever. Tiddles the cat. Cute name, by the way. Tiddles. I recognize the name. You've been here for a while. And I feel like every time I see the name, I have the same reaction. So actually, I have the places specifically planned out for it. In fact, do you want to see? I will let you see. I do specifically have places. So I've been working on one that's white. So I can have, like, pure white. Actually, is it over here? Yeah, it's over here. So you can see each of these glass areas is one map. So that's one map over there. It's going to be white. Over here, I'm going to do something else. I want to have, like, a good idea before I do it. Took Cat's bras for men. One woman. $4 per bra. If I wore a corset, I simply wouldn't be able to breathe, says M. It's kind of a, again, I watched a very long video by someone who was very passionate about bras, so I'm about corsets, so I'm kind of an expert on this one. They're not as tight as, like, there are different tightness settings. You kind of, like, work your way up, or you can not work your way up. Like how you can, you can choose to do it. You know, no one can tell you what you can and cannot do. And isn't that beautiful? The answer is yes, it's beautiful. But yeah, Toy Cat make the UK for his map wall. Yeah, I should have, oh, yeah, I've done map art. Yeah, I've already done map art. Never mind. Look at me, doing things and not even realizing it.
I must go. You will probably be gone when I get back. So
Indeed.
Have a good rest of stream. And I hope you got some candy for Easter. If you didn't go to the sales tomorrow, buy yourself some. Good night.
I totally will buy myself some candy in the sales tomorrow. By the way, it's now a week, as of 17 minutes from now, that I am going to New Jersey, where the weak are killed and eaten. Famously. I have a friend in New Jersey. She lives on the opposite side of New Jersey, though. You know, that's the crazy thing about America. Like, you'd figure, like, if you're from the same area as someone in America, that might mean that you're, like, a 14-hour drive from them. Anyway, I think that, that life is fun. And you know what's more fun than life? Playing Minecraft. So, best state slogan. Is that a real state slogan? Wait. State slogans. I know it's probably not, but I kind of want to... I kind of want to look into... Oh, no. I wish I hadn't looked it up. It's liberty and prosperity. I wish that was the real... I could believe it, you know. Wait, let's see if it's one of the, like, unofficial ones. So, New Jersey state slogans. The Garden State. The Crossroads of the Revolution. That's interesting. Then the Cornerstone State. That's kind of lame. You ever... I've got a video I've wanted to do forever on, it's the state motto for, list of US state mottos. Okay, so we got... For New Jersey, the state motto is liberty and prosperity. If you look at, like, the newer states, it gets kind of wacky, though. It's like, Iowa is like, our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain. But then you look at, like, Texas, and it's friendship. The state motto for Texas, the gun-toting... It's friendship. They really value friendship there, and I think that's adorable. Whereas if you go to, like, I think it's, if you go to, you know, I should go through them all at some point. There's so many weird things that states have in America, and, yeah, that's fun, isn't it? You know what might be fun? Every state that's got new in the name in America, or every, like, place that's got new in the name in America, that's bigger than a thing, talk about what that is. Like, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, and New York. Because people think New York is named after Old York, and, like, indirectly it's true. Also, New Mexico is... Actually, no, the other one's pretty obvious. Though Hampshire's an interesting one, because Hampshire is where some big YouTubers live. I don't know if they're public about it, so I'm not going to say them, actually. But I know some YouTubers who are YouTubers who live in Hampshire. Maybe you know that too. Anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then I don't know, smash that bell and go watch Seed Sunday. Sorry, dude, but you look 50 years old. People say I look 50 years old and like 15 at the same time, and I've been taking that one to heart recently. So, what am I doing here? Oh, I slept there. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, because I'll see you all in a video that isn't this video. Unless I don't, in which case I won't. Goodbye.